We are a peaceful people, struggle as we struggle, and we don't look for trouble, just ask around. But when outside faces from foreign places talk about taking over, we ain't backing down. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass. This land is all I know. We're gonna make it somehow. We will bend like a bow, but never break. Our fathers came here, and they lived and died here, and we ain't moving nowhere, make no mistake. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass.
We love the open county of the Rupununi and the Essequibo, daytime or night. Though we may criticize it, this is our home, we love it, and we need to keep it. We have that right.
We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass.
This is Quincy Anderson. You know I love my country. There's no other country better than mine. Welcome to Guyana, land of 6 races, 6 different faces, and we all live in love. Guyana is a beautiful country, no other can compare. Got everything right here, so no other can compare. Guyana is made up of so many natural resources. We don't need no forces, cause we got enough resources. Let's talk about bauxite, gold, diamond, and rice. We got it right here. Guyana ain't going nowhere. We got enough oil too. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. Hey, hey, Guyana is nice, Guyana is fun, Guyana is clean, Guyana is green, Guyana got oil, Guyana got gold, Guyana got young and Guyana got old. I ain't talking no more. Guyana got things, we growing wings and developing things. The government real and that's a big deal. I'm singing from my heart, Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place Welcome to Guyana, land of 6 races, 6 different faces, and we all live in love. Guyana is a beautiful country, no other can compare. Got everything right here, so no other can compare. Guyana is made up of so many natural resources. We don't need no forces, cause we got enough resources. Let's talk about bauxite, gold, diamond, and rice. We got it right here. Guyana ain't going nowhere. We got enough oil too. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I... This is Quincy Anderson.
Good morning, guys. Good morning, and welcome down to another episode of Livewire. It's the 11th of July, 2024, and not in the best of moods, but the show must go on. And whilst we are engaging here, me being able to vent about my bad mood will allow my mood to change, right? Morning to all the persons joining us across the diaspora and across the tenement administrative regions. Morning to all the persons tuned in on the live already, right? All right, good. So, Michael Captain, morning to you. Eddie Ramnath, Joseph Satar, morning. Muntaz Ali, Derek Drupal, Wazim Nabi, morning to you. Chris Prem Prashad, Janita Rocky, morning to you. Rupert Messiah, Rajendra Singh, Neil Ramlokan, Rahim Amarali, Dionarain Jagdeo, good morning to you. Eunice Raghubir, good morning to you and Rita. Alan Khan, good morning to you. Rakesh Pare, morning to you. Joan Abidjan, morning to you. Jasoda Bodram, Richard Aklu, Omar Sharif, Data Nandala, Nadi Sherwin Siram, Bibi Kali Charan, Miss Ram Charan, morning to you. Deshaun Abrams, morning to you and the entire family. Who else we got here? Salome Suku, good morning to you. Vishnu Narayan, Sarah Mosley, Jane from St. Martin, morning to you. You, Mohammed Isaf, Darshini Ali, good morning. Cecil Rampasad, morning to you. Pam Singh, morning to you and Trevor. Sunil Raghubir, good morning. Philip Diabru, Asif Hamad, Violet Prasad, Shakila Khan, Philip Diabru, Henry Jagdio, Mazo Inshan. Yumona, good morning to you. Roy Jafar Ali, morning to you, brother. One more day, bro. Guys, one more day until Grill Masters will be having their lunchtime specials available to the public again. So don't forget that is happening from tomorrow, right? You guys can call and put in your order at Grill Master. Right, this is the thing I want to pull off. Right, put in your order at Grill Master. The numbers on the screen, and trust me, guys, you won't be disappointed. Please support if you're in Region 6 and you need some lunch, you're passing through, call and put in your order. Or they have catering services as well. If you're out of the region and you want to have some great food, ensure that you check out Grill Masters, right? Raji Maraj, morning to you. Richard Stanislas, Leslie Mongol, Carla Thomas, morning to you. Estelle Ramnath, morning to you. Ann Hill, Ronald Martindale, Ronald Jones, morning to you. Hannah Mohammed, morning to you. Special good morning to Mr. Daniel Gaji joining us. I don't know if he's in Region 4 or Region 9, but morning to you, Mr. Gaji. I hope all is well. Norman Aziz, morning to you. Vishal, morning to you. Who you are? Nirmala Allen, Ajay Chatterpal, morning to everybody down there in Bartica. Ormila Gusai, thank you for the ad, and morning and welcome to the program. Dial Sukram, morning to you. Miss Renetta Small, good morning to you. So look at Algarada, right? Right now, He's my only uncle. I don't recognize the rest of them. So you automatically get the favorite spot. I don't recognize the rest of them, man. John Ramanan, morning to you. Don, morning to you. Sally Jones, morning to you. Jean Cornelius, Lola Harry, Jamila Kayum, Tulsi Ramchedi, morning. Shirley Singh, morning, everybody. So, guys, don't forget Grill Masters, check them out. Also, if you're looking to do architecture for your home, business, whatever it is, make sure you check out Modern Architectures, and you will not be disappointed in what you get, right? We're moving away from the old style homes and we want things fancy, letting in more light, big windows. They got you at Modern Architecture. The numbers on the screen. Give them a call and support. Morning to Dr. Sheridan Murray on the live, joining us all the way from Linden Region 10. Happy to have you here, brother. Thank you for the continued support. Now, people, I was having a good morning until I saw something just now, and I think the cartoonist is horrible and Sherrod Duncan is horrible as well. But we know he's horrible in general, but horrible. So look at this here. Now, yesterday I would have reported on a drowning at the National Aquatic Center, right? Mind you, a life was lost. A youth lost their life, right? Now, look, I don't know. Like, at what point do we say, you know, it is too much? Now, is it that you will take any opportunity that arises to try and make the government look bad? Is it that? Is it you anything? Parents grieving, friends grieving, family grieving, right? This was not an intentional act. The minister wasn't there running the course himself. The minister wasn't the swim instructor. The minister wasn't the lifeguard on duty. The minister is not responsible for checking the plunge board or whatever it is. That's not his responsibility. So, firstly, I mean, the cartoonist, Mr. Harris, I have respect for you as a cartoonist for many years, but I find like some situations serious situations we tend to make light of. Look at the bottom of that image. You got an image of somebody under the water there, like, oh my goodness. You could imagine parents, the family of this, I see they have a Joel Adams. The family of this person, this youth, opening the papers to this. And mind you, the Teach Them Young program is something good. It's an unfortunate situation, but come on, really? Anyway, I won't dwell on this too much. Guys, later in the morning, we have Lenox Gasper, who's going to be back here to talk to us. To continue the conversation in relation to the Linden Tongue Week and the shenanigans that went on there. And to show you how certain parties manage when they're in a position of management, right? But before we get to Lenox Gasper, I wanted to share a video that come across one of the viewers sent to me. So often in Guyana, we hear about this Hakeem Jeffries. Rickford Burke, Hakeem Jeffries. The government of Guyana supposed to be deadly afraid of Hakeem Jeffries. Right? So afraid of Hakeem Jeffries because he's going to change things around in Guyana and bring all this change in Guyana. Oh, Hakeem Jeffries. Look what Hakeem Jeffries' own people saying about him. Right? And when you listen and look at this video, ask yourself if it sounds familiar. Richard Stanislas, I come into Garden Mosley. I can't call a garden pass this morning. He get a whole couple minutes out of my day yesterday. I gotta give him some here today. Right? But I just wanted to show you the kind of people Rick Ford Borg dealing with over there in the States. Right?
Hakeem Jeffries, thank you once again for proving to the American people that we can't trust politicians. Today you stood on that Senate floor arguing the non-citizen voting bill. You said that we as American citizens will not have access to be able to vote, ever. It's going to be so impossible. You said we can't use our state-issued IDs to vote.
The extreme MAGA Republican voter suppression bill will not allow Americans to vote who have a state-issued driver's license.
You also told me military can't use their military IDs to vote.
The extreme MAGA Republican voter suppression bill will not allow Americans who are serving in the military to use their military ID while they're serving this country to vote.
So I got scared and I pulled up the bill myself. But then I got confused because in the bill, I saw I can use my state-issued ID as long as it follows the Real ID Act. Just like when I go on a plane, especially in May of next year when it's going to be required. I also read that military can use their military-issued IDs.
Right? So she like me. She's come with your proof. Right? So watch it. Watch it. Right? All them diaspora people that like to follow Rick Ford Borg and you know Hakeem Jeffries. I'm sure he's done good things in the past. But I'm just showing you. I
was shook because you just told me that nobody's going to be able to vote with these kind of restrictions.
Right? So, you see who he dealing with. You see what's going on there. Trouble in the place. Guys, also today at 2 p.m., the Vice President and General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party, Civic, will be having his press conference. So ensure you guys tune in. It's supposed to be exciting. It's supposed to be very, very exciting. Now, let me get to Garden Mosley quickly before Lenox Gasper gets here. So, y'all, for the people who watched the show yesterday, right? I played a section of Annette Ferguson claiming that Granger in set we said, and the minister, same minister that they were mocking in the cartoon there, the minister, yeah, the minister that's fine. Right. So like I was saying, sorry, I get distracted. I'll close this WhatsApp. Right, so I was telling you about Garden Mosley. So yesterday I was dealing with Annette Ferguson's comments in the parliament, right? And she was talking about Granger not being there to defend himself and the fact that she was reading from a Demerara Waves article and only such and such was said. I ain't gonna take the time to play it back for y'all right now, right? So one of our Livewire viewers sent me the video and I posted it and I used it on the program yesterday. Now, Gordon Mosley, in normal fashion, being a spin doctor that he is, I mean, this guy danced like Nigel Hughes when people ask Nigel about Exxon. That's how Gordon danced around you. And I thought it was horrible because, one, nobody's knocking small business. Under the PPPC government, even in the past, small businesses have gotten the most support. Right? Gordon Mosley was reporting under the tenure of David Granger when people say private sector got tried, it is not government business. Gordon Mosley cannot go to a time under Burnham or Granger where they would have given out more grants, loans, or anything to small businesses than any PPPC administration. He cannot bring that information to you. So Gordon decides to attack Trisha Richards because she said, hey, I don't know why you used to follow these people. I don't know why you used to follow these people. It's bare madness. When I look back at this video and listen to what Granger's saying, it's like I thinking, what was I doing? Right? And he is so upset about that he decides to attack Trisha and try to say that she is belittling small business. That is not the case. Nobody has an issue with small business. Then Gordon Mosley posts a photo of President Ali in Region 3. Well, I think it was at the conference center. The photo was at the conference center. But post a photo where the president was saying that there are plans to open up a international planting chip factory or something. Let me get the photo and show you. Just give me 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Let me get the photo. Trisha Richards. Anyway, my point to Gordon was there's a vast difference between President Ali and President Granger. Now, President Granger, in his infinite wisdom, wherever he acquired it from, decided that he wanted to encourage persons to get into selling of fish and chips, cook up rice, plantain chip, sweet potato chip, cassava chip. That's fine. I don't have an issue with that. Now, I am asking, what kind of support are you giving to those persons that you are encouraging to get into that business? More so, these UG graduates who you promised 18 months after being employed, they will be able to get Vishal calls is Friday. Calls is Friday, brother. Friday's calls. Friday's calls, Vishal, right? Friday's calls. So, as I was saying, you are encouraging persons who out of UG to get into selling plantain chip and cocoa, right? And mind you, nobody's saying food business and those businesses don't generate money. Nobody's saying that. We're looking at the environment that the government created for this suggested pathway for entrepreneurs. That is my point, Gordon Mosley. But apparently, your brain too clogged with Kool-Aid or something else for you to understand, right? Nobody's knocking small business. What I'm saying to you, Gordon Mosley, is look at the difference between President Ali and President Granger. President Ali is saying, hey, we're going to create an international factory or an industry so that we can collect a lump sum of these plantain chips. You understand? Package them properly and ship them to the world. What Granger sending you to do? Go and sell plantain chips on the corner garden, Mosley. You're stupid. Is that an enabling environment? How is that pushing persons? What is the scope of that business in terms of making the amount of people that are coming out of UG? Let me say half the people are coming out of UG every year. decide to go into plantain chip business, how many of them are going to be successful operating right here in Guyana only? Now you have a president who said, you know something, let us build something of international standards, right? So we can have these things packaged properly. So we can have these things probably exported to all the Caribbean countries so they could enjoy our plantain chips and whatever we have to offer. Doesn't that make more sense? Isn't that more encouraging, Garden, mostly? Is that more encouraging? And does that create an environment for the persons who might be skeptical about getting into it? But hey, you know something? We got a factory that's taking all my plantain chips, packaging it, and they got a market overseas for it. Is that not helping the situation, making it easier for them? But Gordon can't understand that. All he sees is persons knocking small business and Auntie Debbie duck curry and Auntie Debbie cook up. You don't think Auntie Debbie want a little marketing to probably take she duck curry out to Lane Avenue and make it international? Think about it. You would think Auntie Debbie would love that people coming from overseas to sample she duck curry because it got a marketing structure or something that the government put in place to market local cuisine. But he can't see that. Gordon Mosley can't see that. He can't see where the hell this picture is. Oh man, I don't even see Gordon come the Trisha Richards comment like she deleted. Because he posted it under her stuff. I'm not seeing her comment here. Oh boy. I wanted y'all to see the flyer. Right? So that is the difference I'm showing you, Gordon. With a president without a plan and a president that has a plan to advance the economic welfare of his people. Right? And let me show you another thing in that video yesterday that jumped out at me after the fact. Right? That jumped out at me after the fact. I want y'all to listen to what the reporter is asking him. The exact words of the reporter, Miss Nazima Kokop Ragobir. She go to Stabrook every night to buy cook. Look, Nazima need to cook. Nazima need to cook. Where? What's going on this morning? It's been these videos going. Oh, here it is. Sorry. Listen to what Nazima is saying here.
I leave Stabrook Market Square where I go to buy cook-up rice. There's a big sign that says Drop Creation with your face and the Prime Minister's face. We have seen no large-scale job creation at this time. Can you say what are the government's precise plans towards this?
Listen to that. What are the government's precise plans towards this? There has been no major effort to create jobs. That is what the reporter said. What is the government's precise plans towards this? Listen to Granger's response. It's yesterday after listening to the video again. I was like, wait, this man actually said this? Listen to this.
Apart from selling cocoa rice,
apart from selling cocoa rice. Y'all could believe this? The girl said, what are your precise plans for job creation? Apart from selling cocoa rice? Listen.
Can you say what are the government's precise plans towards this?
Apart from selling cocoa rice, there's no magic wand.
So selling cocoa rice was a part of the government's plan. Right? Selling cocoa rice. Leslie Mungle, this wasn't a press conference. This was David Granger's staged interaction with the media. We had to submit the questions before, and if they didn't like the questions, you couldn't ask them. Yeah, it wasn't even done live, pre-recorded, so they could edit you out. Even if you went there to play your head and good and you're asking the question anyway, they'd edit you out of there. Edit you out. You understand me? So could you imagine Granger said, apart from selling cocoa rice, when asked about his plan precise plan, his government's precise plan for creating employment. Y'all could have imagined if President Ali said that anywhere, how these people would have gone. Could you imagine if President Ali would say them foolishness apart from selling cocoa? Here, one more time. Let me play it one more time. One more time. I ain't bullshitting
you say what are the government's precise plans towards this?
Apart from selling cocoa rice,
Yeah.
Apart from selling cocoa rice. Apart from selling cocoa rice. So that was a part of their enhancement policy to create economic activity, to create disposable income. Cocoa rice. Right? Mind you, they're marketing Guyana cocoa rice around the world and the Caribbean. So people come in here looking for Guyanese cocoa rice, the different variety, callaloo, black eye, split peas, red beans, nuff meat, little meat, ital, chunks, saltfish, smoke herring. No, they're marketing it. You go out there and sell cocoa rice. There's no magic quant anything. The government can't create jobs for you. You understand me? The government can't create jobs for you. Just like they did in Region 5 in Belvedere. Open a whole building. Open a whole building. I featured it on one of the shows here before. Open a whole packaging plant with not a single machine inside. One big commissioning ceremony. That was when Granger's son-in-law got kicked out of parliament for being a foreigner in our parliament. Having allegiance to other territories in our parliament when he was kicked out of the parliament and the other guy had to take over. Worries. Had a big commissioning ceremony in Region 5. Under the Small Business Bureau. Oh gosh. The business incubator in Belvedere. Business incubator in Belvedere. Y'all could check it. Check it. And nothing in there at the launch except for photos on the wall of the machineries that they were hoping to buy. Could you imagine Minister Walron, Unich Walron, Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce? You understand? Had to be the one to come and put the equipment in there. You understand me? Had to be the one to come under this administration, put it in there. Let me block We Are Legion. I ain't like you. I don't like your name, and you're annoying me. So I gonna give you a block. We Are Legion, right? Just think. Anyway, Lenox Gasper is here. Are we gonna continue with the shenanigans in Linden there? Let me. No, I got blocky first. You're annoying me. I'm watching you commenting all the time. Watching the boy. Hold on. Oh, there you are. I want you to talk about your parents. What is this boy? That's what I want you to do. We Are Legion. You go talk about your parents. When you get a real profile, you come back here. You understand? You hold that block. Have a good morning. Right. Good. So, guys, I'm done with this. As I told you, as you heard earlier in the week, we had asked Lenox Gasper to come back, the town clerk for the Linden municipality. And as you were hearing earlier in the week from Lenox, jeez, mismanagement, failure to follow procedure, and oh gosh, corruption at its best. Corruption at its best. Right? Welcome to the program once again, Lenox. Thank you for taking the time to be here this morning to continue this discussion that must be had about the Linden Tongue Week and what went on up there.
Good morning, Courdel, and I'm privileged and honored to be here on your program once again and to interact with your viewers. We have blackout here in Linden. We had some electrical issues last night. I think it was on Bonham Drive. I saw a video by Travis Chase to that effect. And right. We are experiencing blackout from 8 to 2 this morning. So I'm at the I Love Linden sign.
Nice.
Yes. So I'm coming
That's
to
the
you
sign you were
from,
talking about the last time you're on the show with the rent out and then rent out
yes.
again.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Look,
Yes,
let us
Cardell.
let's jump right into it. So before you left
Mhm,
on the last program, I was
mhm.
asking you about I heard stories about the council or the how to put it the 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 official office of the mayor and city council having some ticketing system
The
of
mayor
one
and town council.
town
The city
council, sorry,
council is the city,
sorry,
yeah, in
city
Georgetown.
council having a
Mhm.
ticketing system of one color. Then you had some councillors or some other persons having another ticketing system and collecting funds and those kinds of things. And we need to continue to discuss this whole coordinator thing and payments and some of the discrepancies that you've been seeing. So let's start
Okay.
with this color tickets. Here was green and yellow or something like that. Talk to us.
All right. So the I've heard the recording too that you are referencing, and we are investigating, but I would have penned a letter and delivered that yesterday to the Auditor General's office
Right,
requesting an audit, permission for an audit through the Ministry of Local Government. And so I'm hoping for a favorable response
right,
because since they're pressing for payments and they are evidence of financial irregularities, mis duplication, breaches as it relates to following protocols and
right,
engaging with the clerk or the persons responsible for ensuring that these financial regulations are followed in terms of the three courts and all these things and entering into contracts. All of these things were flawed, and I am being pressed to pay by the council, to,
right.
which I am not going to be doing. And so this surfaced after I would have done my first live, right?
Right.
And what happened is that it is said, or it is reported, not formally, mind you, that there were some tickets that or receipts that were offered or given to vendors to vend of a different color to the ones that we have. Now,
Right.
this green ticket, the green receipts, it's not a ticket really, it's a receipt. The green receipts were for event promoters, those persons who had like the all black, the international night, the pageant, they were given a green ticket.
Right.
Vendors on the road were given a yellow ticket by the clerks, right? Our
Right.
revenue clerks, when they go out to work, they would normally give them um, this yellow ticket. Oh no, there was a white or gray ticket receipt that was given to the vendors by our revenue clerk, and this yellow ticket is what was supposed to be given by counselors if they do when they do any transaction, but those were to be paid into the cashier.
Mm.
Once if the person comes into the council, they would normally go to the mayor's parlor, interface with the mayor's secretary, and she writes up that receipt, that yellow receipt, and they go from her office into straight to the cashier. So they were not permitted to collect any money, right?
Wow.
But this recording states or give information that they were collecting the monies. This is on the Wismanite, for persons at the Wismanite area. However, upon my investigation after I would have heard the information, the revenue clerk said they only work up to Poker Street. You know, Linden. Poker Street is a good distance before you reach the Christianborg Hard Court,
Right.
where this particular color party fete was on the Wismanite. So if they work only up to Poker Street, then we have to query who would have worked at that end. I did understand from other officers that they were called because apparently some persons either they didn't want to pay or they wanted to pay or whatever. And so constabulary was called in to maybe bring some peace or force persons to pay. And when they got there and they realized what was happening, they decided to disengage and they left them. Same as what was mentioned in the voice in the audio. So we are still investigating. I would have asked them to submit their report as to what would have happened that they remembered on that day that they worked. And then we are still to find anyone who would have been vending on that night, a Wisma night with a pink or camouflage party, persons who would have been vending to find out if they had paid and if anyone would have still have their receipt so that we can establish evidence to what this claim on this voice note. But I would have uncovered enough evidence from my end, right, to question the entire process, and that would have forced my position to writing to the Auditor General, right, outside of that aspect that you referenced there in your question.
So Lennox, one thing I want to say, I want to commend you for taking that path so that this cannot be deemed as you are on a witch hunt or anything of the sort. You bring in the relevant authorities, let them examine the books and the information, and let the chips fall where they may.
All right? Exactly.
So, yeah, in our last conversation, you spoke of an honorarium for Miss Kisoon. Am I correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I want to ask you about another set of honorariums for Miss Latoya Williams, and I'd like you to say the amount that was requested, and please give us the official role or where Miss Latoya Williams is employed, and if in your view you deem this as a conflict of interest. And also I'd like you to comment on the honorarium for Miss Nelson as well, and what were the services she offered to warrant these payments.
Very well. Well, let me say off the bat in answering the question, starting with Miss Nelson. Miss Nelson is the treasurer of the Linden municipality, and she would have worked extra hours. And according to my understanding of honorarium, it is where someone would have rendered professional service or skill. All right. So whether institution, organization for the execution of a project or what have you. And if you were to pay them the regular charge, you would not be able to fulfill that payment. So you honor them with a small token, right? As a recognition to what they would have done. And so that is justifiable to me for her, as well as other staff who would have worked the extra hours for this tongue week. This is not the regular.
What I wanted you to do is contrast what they did in terms of what Kisoon did, and I think her son said as well.
Yes. Now, what Miss Nelson would have done is the financial aspect. All the information that I put out there and I'm sharing with you, these were the information that reached my desk through Miss Nelson and her staff worked. All right. And of course, she did not see when all these other requests were coming for payment, but I know I got the figure, I got the information in terms of what came in, what they can account for. So as the accountant, as the treasurer, her position was more or less financial management. And she was given an honorarium of 100,000. Ms. Latoya Williams is secretary to the mayor. She's the mayor's secretary. Now, she has to do her work because generally most of her workload is lighter a lot of times. All right? Because the administration carries the burden and she's a staff, an administrative staff. But somehow she feels she got some power and she's believed that she's some counselor. But she's a staff. You understand? And this staff is being paid by the municipality to execute service basically to the mayor, because this is a privilege that is allotted to the mayor to have a secretary that you trust, a trusted, confidential secretary, as you will put it. So you cannot
Right.
take that away from them. You become minister or mayor or whatever tomorrow, you will have to choose who you want to be your secretary, right?
Right. Right.
And so that is allowed. But I am seeing an honorarium for Miss Williams for 250,000,
Where?
right?
Where? Gasper.
Yes, way more than the treasurer. Yeah, man. Yeah, so her role seems to be way more pivotal to this whole function than
Right.
the treasurer, right? The one who handled financial management and had our entire staff working to make sure that the accountability, the financial accountability is intact for the Tongue Week 2024. This is
Right.
not
Right.
Miss Nelson alone. Miss Nelson would have managed what? Maybe 15, 20 staff, roughly. I'm just giving you out from my head to be able to make sure that this, what we are talking here, is on point. Because if it all comes into question at a we call inquiry, then all these recordings and things may come into evidence. So her work was not just her alone, but her and team. But Miss
Right.
Williams, secretarial duties, $250,000. And mind you, Miss Williams is relative to Miss Vanessa Kissoon. You didn't know the piece? They are all
What?
family. Yes, it's one big family. They don't know.
Family.
I just do my research and know what's happening. I'm here.
Oh my.
Remember, Cordell, I come from a journalistic background. We know about
Right.
investigative
Right.
journalism. So I know the
Right.
whole lineup. There's a family.
So it's
You
friends, family,
understand?
and favorites.
Friends, family, they like use the word. Their favorite thing. You know, I learned my grandmother always said people like to blame you for
For
the
what they're
things that they
doing.
just do.
Yep.
Yes. So
Yep.
that's how they always say the PVP is friends, family, and favorite. That's what they are. Friends, family, and favorite. If you go right back to Durban Park, you can see friends, family, and favorite.
Oh my gosh.
If you go, man, let me go down the road. So
Let me see.
Miss Kissoon is a
Uh-huh.
counselor, and she has the responsibility and mandate to coordinate this, to be able to bring revenue into the council. And
Mhm.
ultimately, when this is calculated, when all is said and done, then they will, after clearing expenses, they are expected to use the balance of the proceeds for community development. Miss Kissoon should not have even bring herself to allowing her name to be on any request form for money. This council pays a stipend to all councillors, but you're supposed to do this to build your tongue. But these
Right.
people
Right.
want to build their
Right.
self-interest. You understand? And so in the past, it was where councillors did the same, but remember they didn't have a tongue clerk by the name of Gasper.
Correct.
So they would have decided that, oh, the precedent is set, they probably will work to that. But, Cordell, the mayor would have mentioned at the extraordinary meeting, and then we would have had a meeting in February. I think it was the 3rd of February. We had a meeting to deal with the tongue week. The mayor would have said in that meeting that he has already instructed councillors that you are working pro bono voluntarily to be able to push this tongue week forward, make it bigger and better, and to big up the Linden tongue, so to speak.
Mm.
I just paraphrase there. And now they double back to give me all these requests for monies for councillors. And the thing is, there is no criteria, there is no condition that I can say, okay, there was some fairness in the distribution of these honorariums. How do you explain Vanessa Kissoon getting 250,000? How do you explain Abdullah Hamid right, getting 150,000. How do you explain, I think it's Patricia Critchlow, another 150,000? And then, well, they got, now there is a councillor that had been very critical, and he was the former mayor. He's been very critical in his involvement in the Tongue Week in terms of cleanup and all of that, with the support from both sides and stuff. There is a request for a 50,000 for Councillor Bethune, who would have done and put in way more in terms of contribution. How do you equate that with the 250 for Miss Kisoon?
Yeah.
Who did what? I don't know. How do you equate that with the mayor secretary, 250? How do you equate that with Councillor Hamid, 150? It starts to come over, Courdel, as though this is a slush fund. This is some kind of a Ponzi scheme that have been happening on the backs of the Linden people. Businesses in Linden were basically asked to make way for this program every year around this period. If you were vending on the road, you would have to remove and apply to go back in that spot that you have to make money. And you will pay 3, sometimes 4, sometimes 5 times the money that you normally pay when it's not Tongue Week. So let's say you were vending on Republic Avenue and you were paying a $500 to sell per day. When Tongue Week comes around, you are paying as much as $7,000 per day.
What?
To vend. Now, Lindeners accommodated these people and moved back and allow for persons to come in to do business and whatever little over spill they get from. And this is supposed to now give back for the promotion. Do something in the tongue. No, these councillors want to get their hand on the money. But Gasper now, blocking. Gasper is the problem. The tongue clerk becomes the problem because the tongue clerk is saying, show me proof. Show me what is the criteria for these monies. How you lotting out these monies. What am I paying for? Who?
Right.
Yeah.
Gasper, I want to ask a question. Now, Tongue Week can raise $1 billion. It can raise some funds. But have you heard any of the councillors suggest to you or at a statutory meeting saying, you know, I want $1 million to probably do this in my constituency, or I'd like some money to get this done in my area, or have you heard anything of that nature from these persons?
This is supposed to form part of the conversation even when we have the very first meeting for the Tongue Week, but it was not. I cannot say to you, Courdel, the council would have, whether verbally or in writing, that these are the projects they will do from the remaining of the Tongue Week proceeds for 2024. None of that. None of that. I can't say there is a budget plan to be had. There is a road or an equipment that we need to buy. I've been making moves for us to get a generator. Like I said, we got blackout, and I am here now out at the Linden, the I love Linden sign, enjoying the natural air and the breeze. But I could have been right there. We could have still have our internet and doing our work, but we are all in the blackout. I made move, but subvention money can't buy generator. So we didn't get through with that. Job money is to be able to buy stuff to benefit the community. It's to go towards community development. It must directly benefit the people. And so I understand that, why it was not allowed or granted. So why then you don't put some of the money to that? We need to make sure we continue the service that we have to give to the people. None of that. I cannot say it to you, Courdel. I cannot answer that question. What is it? They don't have a plan. Just like when the Tongue Week started, they hadn't a budget. And now the coordinator, and I know you come into that, want me to pay him 1.5 when it was hinged on him performing. There were conditions, there was a list of duties, there were some executions, some things you had to execute before I can come to measure it what or how I will pay
The
you.
performance, right? Right, his
Yes.
performance. Yeah, but Gasper, anywhere you go, and you're under a contractual obligation, and you don't perform, you don't get paid, or
Well,
your money cut. You
yeah,
understand? Because you didn't deliver.
exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's like okay, so the Linden Town Council agreed with this man here. We're looking for 18 million,
Mhm.
right? You fall short of that. Along with falling short, you had other issues in terms of communication, budget presentation, and these kinds of things. What is this coordinator thinking? Getting paid for shoddy work?
Now, if we are to measure what happened, you hear the talk of 10 million, 10.4 that came in. Of the 10.4, I haven't done all the calculation in isolation, but we would have had to do some reimbursement for vendors. And this is going back to what I would have said. Some people pay for spots, and when they show up, another person in the spot, because you might have collect money from 2, 3 people, 4,
Wow.
or a friend come and go in your space, and so they may put out their friend. They rather you stay, you come back, forget your money, right?
Oh
So
boy.
we would have had reimbursement, right?
Mm, mm.
That probably gonna accumulate to roughly 300,000, 400,000, 500,000. So the 0.4 is already out the window. Then
Yeah.
we have expenses. Some of the money were naturally generated without any thing with the coordinator. Without
Yeah.
the coordinator, once you call tongue week,
Yeah.
banks
Naturally.
good. Banks will think these event promoters will come on board because they want to make a profit.
Well,
They all
banks,
black, the
BL,
denim
those
and white,
people.
the 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 um the pageant and whatever. No coordinator had to bring them. So all the coordinator needed to do to make sure he looked like he doing work. Come, I call
Good problems. So wait, that's what the man be looking busy.
yeah,
What
one said,
concealment?
one said he was looking busy with the wrong set of people. He running around with the counselors. But to make like you look like you're doing work, come to the clerk. You were supposed to present a comprehensive report according to your job description. You did not present that comprehensive report. You were
Right.
to do a proposal before the tongue week. This comprehensive report was supposed to be after, right? And it was supposed to be submitted the Friday after the last event. So you had a couple of days because the last event was on the 6th. And I think the 6th was the holiday, which was Monday. So you
Right.
had Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all these days to make sure, because you should have been doing your work, writing and pulling your informations together so you have that report to hand in. Till now, that report hasn't reached my desk, but the last statutory meeting, the mayor said he has the report. Well, the mayor will need to pay this man
Let him pay him. Let him
because
pay him.
he ain't communicate with me, who he signed on the contract with. How you get him paid? Then he was supposed to present the proposal. The proposal would say what you plan to do, how you plan to bring it, what, and along with a budget, right? Well, we could consider the budget as a proposal, but it was not detailed. The budget
Yeah.
came till the 26th, and I said that on your last program, the night of the very first program. So how do you build a house without an estimate? How do
Yeah.
you buy a transportation without a quotation? What kind of madness is that? That is
Yeah.
what happened for the Tongue Week 2024. They went ahead and do their plan. He was supposed to communicate with the clerk and the officers, staff of the council to make sure, well, through the clerk, staff of the council to make sure that things run smooth. He did not do that. Now, on a program, he is heard saying that he spoke to my secretary, the town clerk secretary. You didn't sign a contract. The town clerk secretary signed as a witness on that contract.
No,
You didn't
but
sign
Gasper,
the contract with her.
wait. This
Mhm.
guy had a cell number for you or something, or
All of that, all of
so
that.
why
I
you
even
talking to the secretary? Why you calling him
I
direct?
even wrote him and the mayor when I realized that we passed the budget conditionally at the statutory, at one of the extraordinary meeting. I think that was the extraordinary meeting on the 3rd of February, right? Or the 18th. I have that here somewhere. And I wrote them on it. Right? Anyhow, I ain't got that here. But I wrote them on it. And I asked what is happening with the detailed budget. I don't have the detailed budget. How do I know, what you're doing, to what extent, how to guide and advise you? There were things that I look at this budget that they give to me. They didn't even take certain things into consideration. You planning for an opening ceremony. You're planning for the senior citizen luncheon. Certain things you're taking into consideration, transportation, miscellaneous venue. There's a number of things, but had we gone through them one by one, I would have been able to say, look, you leave out this. Y'all need to factor in this. No, they are sending me payments for those things when it was not even budgeted for. The same budget that when he brought on the 26th, and I told him on the night of the 26th that this budget is it is not comprehensive, it's not detailed. We will need to discuss this budget the next morning. I heard on a program where his father was the interviewer, right? The same coordinator, his father interviewed him on that program. I heard him mention that he came into my office and he spent an hour and 40 something minutes. I've never had reason to think that the young man spew misinformation and fabricates stories. But this was the night of the pageant. The pageant is co-coordinated with his sister.
It's a big incestuous thing going on in London.
Friends, family, and favorites. Going back to that. So he came in. He didn't last 10 minutes. We didn't talk that long. All I said at that hour, it was late. I afforded him because I wasn't far from the council. I came in my office. I took it, registered it, and I wrote on it, right? And I wrote the time, 9:01. And I said, this will have to be discussed on the 27th. The man said, I kept him an hour and a half and I used explicit. I ain't even subversing the cussing.
Gasper, right? I can say this on your behalf, right? I can say this on your behalf. And probably only certain people might know. We have not always had the best interactions. And you have never used profanity towards me, ever.
Good,
ever.
Good. Even if I was at the top and very angry, right? So the man said that I used profanity. And the thing is, I said to him that I would not pay him any effing money or whatever the statement was. But yet you still went to work. Now, if on the first engagement, the person who's responsible for paying me, whom I entered into a contract with, said something like that to me, I would have told the mayor and the others here, I know y'all want to work, but y'all got to talk to the man. It's my saying paid.
Right.
If I go to work, then somebody got to tell me how I get him paid. But the man went to work, and now I'm hearing this, and I'm like, wow. But that's small things. I'm not focusing on that. That's small. My thing was, he came in, he never communicated. I wrote the mayor asking about it. I did reference the fact that he's not communicating with me. I'm seeing him on the camera. I don't know what's happening. I don't know where we are. The invitation, down to the invitation for me to go to the opening of the tongue week. The invitation for the clerk, because I didn't know what was happening. The invitation came 1 o'clock, the Sunday, for a 6 o'clock event.
Man,
1 o'clock. 1 o'clock.
As the paymaster, that's past you.
And the coordinator did not come, right? He was supposed to, according to his contract, and I have it highlighted here. This is clause 4, right? The parties agree to follow payment and payment term, which shall be as set out herein, clause 4A and B, on the condition that upon agreement and commencement, the LMNTC will pay a retainer fee of 150,000, which is 10% of the whole, and the difference of the 30% will be paid to the coordinator of the agreed sum after 50% of the budgeted sum is collected. Remember, 50% of the budgeted sum is the 18 million.
Right.
Good. So you gotta collect 50% of the budgeted sum before I pay you your next 30% along with this 150. But the fact that he didn't even present the budget, which was the first thing to start or commence this contract, he wasn't even given the 150, right? So it continues to say, thereafter, the second 30% will be paid on the collection of 75% of the budgeted sum. 75% now needed to be paid before I make another payment.
Right.
Good? Of that 18 million. It needed to be collected, come in, everything. And then the final payment of 40% on the completion of the service. Technically, Mr. Jones, the man, we still have some 200 or 300, 400,000 out. There is still a completion of a final payment. Good? It is not complete. What am I really paying him for? But I see the request come for me to make payment for the 150 and the 1.350, which is a total of the 1.5. No.
No, but Gasper, I want to ask you, when you say 50% of the cost, you're talking about after expenses, he has made 50% of the 18 million.
It did not state after expense, so I'll be very careful on how I deal with that, because one of the things with contract and clause, if you don't state it, then it would be taken as whole. So if it is the 18 million, it's 18 million we're looking at. So you did not bring in 18 million. The bottom line is you fall short. So when you're going to get your lawyer and to come at me, come right. Because like I said on the last program, just as how I grew up in the ghetto where we got station foot, I got court step foot. I don't have a problem running up the court step. I can explain myself. I'm capable of handling myself before a judge, magistrate, and answering questions from any lawyer. Right? The lawyer will look at this thing and the lawyer will see. And I also want to bring to the attention of the public, there is a clause in this contract. It's called the flexibility clause. I was very careful in the drafting of this contract because you needed to make sure you cross all the T's and dot all the I's. The flexibility clause says in the event that the contract does not go according to plan regarding the planning and promotion of the 11 days event, the payment terms and condition outlined herein shall apply. A, number one, performance-based payment. Now the man rowing because I said you gotta get performance-based payment. It's here in the contract.
There. We don't care how you feel there.
I don't care.
You can feel how you want.
In the contract. So we're coming at me. You need to take the contract that you have a copy of, that you signed on the 28th of February, and carry it to your lawyer when you're going. Right? It's here in the contract. And let me read what the clause said. Right? The LMNTC acknowledge that the payment of the Linden Tongue Week LTW coordinator services is contingent upon the successful execution of the event promotion as specified in this contract payment, right? In this contract, payment will be made based on the achieved milestone and results rather than a fixed fee. Oh God, bye.
You know, Gasper, I like how you cover yourself, you know. You brains big. You plays big. You understand? I bet you, sir, that guy probably didn't even read through that entire contract to realize that that's in there, you know. There's a
Exactly. And
possibility.
the thing is he was sent it before signing. This man had this thing, I think it's 2 days or 3 days, this man had this contract before
Right.
signing. So the contract spells out everything. What then do I need to fear? I wouldn't even worry to read more into it because it just tells the story. You have to be prorated. The payment will have to be prorated because you have performance based. I can't just hand you money
Yeah, but
because
that's what
when all of this is done, we will then need to discuss what we are using the tongue week money for. Because as I tell you, the tongue counselors don't have a plan for it. Well, maybe they had their own plan to get their hand on it, but then get their hand on it.
indeed.
So the plan thwarted, and I am there to say when we are done, when we finish paying whoever we got to pay. And I did ask them, I sent a letter to the mayor asking them to make clear any sponsorship. This letter here was sent on the 5th. The 2nd of May. The 2nd of May. I said, we request a detailed verification report on the gifts, donation, grants, and sponsorship that were contributed to the Linden Tongue Week.
Right.
I would like to know the donor's name, the contributions made. I would also like a report explaining why 39% of our event costs are still outstanding. This, like I said, was at the 5th of May. I sent the 2nd of May. I sent this report to the mayor. Good. As a matter of fact, it's to Stefan Gabriel, sorry, and it was copied to the mayor. This was to the coordinator. I didn't get no response to this. So they can't blame me that I didn't reach out to the coordinator. I made attempts and effort to reach out to the coordinator. After he didn't respond to this, I wrote the mayor. This is it. This is the letter now to the mayor.
Right.
Good. Update on donation received from the Linden Tongue Week. Reference is made to the subject in the caption. A request is made for a status update of the donation contributions received that did not pass through the M&TC cashier. I greatly appreciate the generosity of our donors and want to ensure that their contributions are utilized effectively.
Right. Yeah.
As such, can you please provide the following: a total amount of donations received, gifts, grants, and contribution, and outline how the funds will be utilized. Or was utilized, not will be, how the funds was utilized. Because if you didn't pass through the cashier, then I need to know what you did with it. I'm basically giving them an opportunity to come clean. But this batch of counselors are bent on not following advice or guidance of the clerk. They are bent.
I want to ask you this before I let you go. I got some stuff to do this morning. No, is it possible that the council could sue this coordinator for non-delivery of services or breach of contract, or I mean, because he has lapsed on in many areas in relation to the contractual obligations that he had. Is that a possibility?
In my own limited understanding of the law, if there is any suing, that will basically be on his part, because we have the money that we haven't paid him as yet.
No, so but wait, you haven't paid because he didn't deliver on a service.
Because he did not deliver good. Right. And so that in itself is a judgment where I am stating now to you that I will pay you on performance, and you have got to come in and let us readjust this agreement. And so if he does not, and then I decide to withhold, he then would need to do that.
Okay.
I don't need to. Because
no, but I was looking at from the standpoint of the council was expecting $80 million at least. The council was expecting you to communicate so that and not just expecting, this was a contractual agreement that you were supposed to communicate and do this and that. And it could be deemed that because of his actions, the Dumbic was not able to get its full potential, causing Lindeners not to be able to benefit from funds that could have been generated.
I would have to be legally advised in that capacity, right? But I hear your argument, and you know, it has some weight to it. But I would have to be advised, because when you're dealing with suing, it comes into or it begs the question: what are you suing for? And if we are talking about, I'm suing for the balance of this money that could have been garnered, I would have to prove beyond reasonable doubt how I am sure it could have been garnered. If it is a case where there was a promoter that wanted to contribute 6 million, and because of his inactions or actions, we lost that promoter, then I have a case to sue, right? Because of your action, you caused us to lose on this money when you would have had a contractual agreement. But they do have sometimes fall through when it comes to budgeting. It is basically something that is projected, and sometimes you have fall through for various reasons. Good. And things could happen, and it may or may not be because of his actions or inactions. But I would again have to be guided
Check on
where
that
is concerned.
These people are horrible. They're horrible. I'm glad you're up there keeping things in order, Lenox. I want to touch on a couple of things before I end this program, so I'm gonna let you get back to your blackout and actually blackout I'm going to talk about.
Yes.
But thank you for being here. Keep up the good work. Hold firm. Don't let these people involve you in any foolishness. And just do you, brother. Do you.
None of it. All right. Yes,
Thank
Courdel, thanks.
All right. That was Lenox Gasper, the town clerk for the Linden Municipality. Now, before I wrap up, Uncle Ronald asking questions because he hear Gasper talk about blackout. Right? So I would have addressed this a couple of programs before, but I will give Uncle Ronald an example of why the blackout situation is how it is. And he would know that even if this is a case, or if this is something that happens in America, it's not as prevalent as it is here in Guyana. Here's the video. Let me get the video. Oh, here it is. Great. Good. So this is for my my uncle who wanted to know about the blackout situation. Now, in any country, the power company would have an idea of the homes, the businesses that are there, the amount of power they're drawing, and they'll know we need 1,000 kilowatts, we need 100 kilowatts, we need 80 kilowatts to ensure that all these businesses and all these homes, and that's another thing people just get me vexed when they use, and I see Uncle Ronald use it here. I vex with it, but they like to bring in this oil economy. Oil, it's all about oil. But me vex with you. I explain it to you the possibility why we still getting blackouts. So, like I was saying, the power company would have an idea of the capacity needed to keep the lights on in any area or in a country that they're providing, or the areas they're providing current to. But when you have situations like this here, Uncle Ronald, right, where you may have several homes attached to a grid that you don't know about, right, and in such a manner that could cause when the two wires bridge off and cause a feedback to the power station and cause a shut off. These are some of the reasons why. Now, since that power ship has come, the blackouts in this country have decreased, right? People might not want to admit it, but blackouts have gone down. It hasn't stopped, but it has gone down. Again, you remember the power ship bringing in a certain amount of kilowatts. The power company said, okay, we need this amount of kilowatts to continue operation and stop blackout. But then you have this. When you think you need 60, you need 90. Because the other 30 kilowatts are persons who are not on the grid, stealing electricity and causing problems for the power company. So we must remember this is an issue as well, right? It has nothing to do with oil. It has nothing to do with oil. It has to do with Guyanese being reasonable. Now, where I'm showing you here, this is at the head of Sierra Joanna. Y'all saw, matter of fact, let me show you. Yeah, let me show you. I hope you're still watching, Uncle Ronald. I hope you're still watching. Let me show you this here. Oh, the drone footage. So I want to show you, give you an idea of the people in this area, the amount, and the fact that this addition that is not known to the power company could affect. Okay, no, this is just a broke down house. I gotta get one of the high shots. But just look at this here. All those houses that are up still have illegal electrical connections, adding to the grid that the grid didn't know about. Right? Adding to the grid that the grid doesn't know about. So that is one of the reasons why the blackout issues continue in the country. But I'm saying it is not as bad as before. The period the period that the blackouts would last, it is not as long. Linden is a completely different case in terms of power generation because they have an agreement with the mining company there that provides electricity to come to the community of Linden. So if the mining company got a problem, Linden electricity got a problem. So again, it's not a government issue. But I should say it's not a government issue. I should say it's not the government's fault, right? Because both has a over generating capacity, so they're able to sell electricity cheap to Lindeners. That's why Lindeners could have their lights on all day and cook with electric stove. And look, I have not seen an electric stove in years until you go to Linden. People have electric stoves there because they could afford to cook a whole meal on an electric stove because light is so cheap, right? So we have to take into consideration what is happening with the stealing of electricity. We have to take into consideration person's proximity to well, not proximity, but at the end of the day, the government is trying, and there's only so much you could do at one time. Also, Uncle Ronald, to address this issue holistically, that is the purpose of the Gas to Shore project, right? So outside of being able to sell our own cooking gas produced in Guyana locally and internationally, that project there, the Gas to Shore project, will have a power generating aspect of it that will give us, I can't remember how much megawatts or kilowatts, but the amount the Gas to Shore project will bring onto the network will be more than is required in terms of the capacity needed for keeping the lights on 24/7 here in Guyana. So one, the government has identified what the problem is. Two, they put a temporary solution in place to not have the situation be as bad as it was before. And three, put in place a long-term solution to the problem in the form of the Gas to Shore project, which has a power generating aspect of it that will add about 300 kilowatts or megawatts, I'm not an electric person, to the grid that will over provide for what we are currently using here and what we're expecting to come onto the network in the future, right? So I hope that explains it to you, Uncle Ron, in relation to blackouts, right? And in general, and in any country, sometimes you got some issue with the grid, the light go down, you got blackout, they got to fix it, it takes some time. What are we going to do? That's always work, right? That's always work. But I am sure yeah, but that's why I say, Uncle Ronald, that's why they got the gas to shore project. That will take some time to build, right? It is supposed to come on stream before 2030, long before then, right? I think it's supposed to be finished sometime next year or 2026. Maybe. I got to check the information. I'm not too up to date with the gas to shore completion date and that kind of stuff. And also, how is the government to take into consideration the illegal connection? How you know how many people illegally connected to the grid? That video I showed you, this video here, the only reason probably GPL know about this now is because I go down in the back there to talk to them people and see it and film it, right? This is Sierra Joanna. We have these issues in Sophia, right in the heart of the city, where you got multiple persons, some squatters too, especially in Beefield, by next April. Thank you, Mohammed. The gas show is supposed to come on stream by next April, 2025. So this is Sierra Joanna. That's out far flung up the East Bank. You got places like Sophia where you could literally drive through the community and see people running wire from the post, cross the road through a trench into the house to get power. Now, let me say, for some reason, that wire that runs through the trench, the rubberized coating break, and they got some kind of bridge off there. Man, Uncle Ran, he said they got census. We will take out a census. The census can tell you how many people live in and where they live in, right? But squatting is happening all over this country, and the census persons, I don't know if they go to squatting areas to, I don't know. But I give you a reasoning for the blackouts, and I gave you the fact that the government has identified the problem, the fact that a temporary solution is in place, and the fact that a long-term solution is already in the pipeline, under construction already, right? Already. Uncle Ron, this here is the former mayor of Georgetown. That's her comment here. So that gives you an idea. That gives you an idea of the situation in terms of these illegal connections and the kind of burden that it is adding on the power generation company here in Guyana, right? Not to say GPL don't mess up sometimes, but it's a serious issue that we're trying to deal with. The government is trying to deal with, right? Once again, guys, don't forget 2 p.m. today, General Secretary for the People's Progressive Party, Dr. Bart Jagdeo, will be having his press conference. And guys, it should be a banger. It should be a banger. So check it. Check it out. Check it out. Right? Don't forget tomorrow, Grill Masters, they'll be starting their daily lunch specials again. So call, check their Facebook page to get updates on what's available for lunch at Grill Masters there in Region 6. And if you're building your home, doing any architectural drawings or designs, make sure you check out Modern Architectures. Really good work. They've been established for some time now, and you guys can have great work, reasonable prices at this company here. Numbers on the screen. Call, support local, support local, support local. Right? So see you guys tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow's call-in Fridays. Share your thoughts on whatever you heard this week, whatever you want to discuss. That's your day. Vishal, we expecting you tomorrow. So gear up, get your credit ready, get a good internet connection, and we want to hear from you. I am heading out of here. I want to advise you, wherever you're looking at us from, to be safe, be good Guyanese, and as I usually say before I go, it's all about peace, it's all about love, it's all about one Guyana.
Things we growing wings and developing things. The government real, and that's a big deal. I'm singing from a heart, Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home.